The big integration of Cold War into Warzone brought with it over 30 weapons, but the question that I keep getting asked is, what are the best Cold War weapons in Warzone? I'm going to go over a few weapons in this video that are currently dominating, along with some suggestions for class setups, and we're going to start with the weapon that's arguably getting the most attention, the M16. This has been a fan favourite since Call of Duty 4, so it's great to see back in the big time. In Warzone, it's slaying at the moment, and that's thanks to its big damage and accuracy. The burst fire rate is also good enough to compete against most weapons. It's possible to put people down in 1 to 2 bursts with no problem, especially if you can hit their head with some of those bullets. Just a thing to note, by the way, there wasn't a monolithic suppressor equivalent for Cold War weapons until yesterday, when the tactical suppressor got a nice buff. So anything you've heard about Cold War weapons not having a monolithic suppressor equivalent, and therefore losing bullet velocity and damage range with the suppressor, is officially outdated. This is great news for us, as it means Cold War weapons, and particularly ARs and LMGs, can properly compete with all MW weapons. Anyway, the class setup that I suggest for the M16 is Agency Suppressor for the muzzle, 20.5 inch match grade barrel, Royal and Cross 4x optic, Field Agent foregrip for the underbarrel, and 45 round mags. The reason I do love the M16 in Warzone at the moment is because we don't really have too many other similar options. Like the FAMAS from Modern Warfare couldn't really compete at the top tier, whereas I really think the M16 can. It's by no means easy to run and gun into a building with the M16, but if you're set up and peeking angles, this can absolutely blow people away. Now let's move on to a personal favourite of mine, which is the Stoner. This is the closest thing to the big meta Bruin that we saw a few months back. With the right attachments, you can get it acting like an AR in terms of aiming down sight speed and movement, but with the big damage that LMGs provide. It also has pretty decent recoil for an LMG, so let's take a quick look at a possible class setup for you to run. So again, we're going Agency Suppressor. You're going to see this with basically every good class for Warzone now, as that's going to replace the monolithic suppressor in Cold War weapons. 21.8 inch Task Force barrel, the Royal and Cross 4x optic again, Field Agent grip for the underbarrel, and fast mag ammo. This is without doubt going to be a high tier weapon. It's fun to use, it can wipe squads out, it can challenge people at pretty much any range. I'm a big fan of it, and my man AtomPunk55 spotted this very early on, even before the full game was released, so props to him. Now on to the Krig AR. This is basically the Cold War answer to the Kilo. It has very little recoil and decent damage, mobility, and aiming down sight speed, all the things you need for a good weapon in Warzone. Now that the Agency Suppressor issue, where it previously reduced velocity and damage range, has been fixed, the Krig is now a genuine contender against the Kilo. It feels like a different weapon on Warzone after this update. If you do want to give it a spin, the attachments I recommend are the Agency Suppressor, 19.7 inch Ranger barrel, the Axial Arms x3 optic, Field Agent grip for the underbarrel again, and 45 round mag for the ammunition. Okay, so now I'm going to suggest 2 SMGs that are not only the best Cold War weapons to use on Warzone, but also may just be the best SMGs to use on Warzone, full stop. The first one is the MAC-10. This is a fast-firing melt machine at close distance and actually outcompetes the MP5 from Modern Warfare at close range. Obviously it will drop off at longer distances, as you'd expect from an SMG, but in the right circumstances, wow. The attachments that I suggest are the Agency Suppressor, 6.1 inch reinforced heavy barrel, Field Agent grip, 43 round speed mag, and the SASR jungle grip for rear grip. This is one of the ultimate setups for run and gun. If you're that style of player, you're absolutely gonna love this weapon. Its fast fire rate is just incredible, matched with great damage too. The best comparison I can make to a Modern Warfare weapon is the Fennec. The difference here is the damage is higher on the MAC-10, and therefore the time to kill is just much quicker. It blows the Fennec away, along with most other SMGs out there. So on to the final weapon that I do recommend, which is the second SMG, and that's the AK-74U. Again, fans of COD 4 will remember this for being an absolute destroyer of a weapon, and it's back at that level again. This is slightly different to the MAC-10, because you'll have a bit more range and control with it, so we're talking less recoil, lower fire rate, and generally this weapon is a little bit more balanced in all categories. This is a great alternative to the MAC-10 if your style of play means you don't end up in people's faces as often, but you take on people at reasonably close range. It's a real great alternative to the MP5 because it just has great versatility. What I suggest using on the AK-74U is the GRU suppressor, which is basically the agency suppressor, but for some reason on the 74U is called the GRU suppressor. So again, it's great for keeping you off that minimap and giving you some extra damage range. Then we've got the 10.3-inch Task Force barrel, the Spetsnaz underbarrel grip, 50-round fast mag, and the Spetsnaz field grip for the rear grip. The best part about all of these new weapons is that they can actually challenge the Modern Warfare guns, so you'll be able to use a variety of weapons in matches, and you'll start to see loads of different weapons being used. It won't just be the same 2 or 3 weapons used by every single player in the game. You can experiment and have a bit more fun with it, while still being able to get a load of kills and wins. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, give it a like and consider subscribing for more Call of Duty content. Bye for now.